breathe in, breathe out type of
we
moment.
We actually have to redraft the whole
cool,
thing.
Man.
Oh my god. Why do they do this to us?
Actually
okay,
insane.
Well.
You know, looks like, you know, we will be getting the picks coming through here, but, you know, just as a reminder to set the stakes here, whoever wins is going to playoffs. Whoever loses, their year is done. They're not just, you know, out for now. Like, this will be the last game that one of these two teams plays in 2025, and, you know, it could not mean more.
Could not mean more. And a lot of fates colliding here today, but we'll be getting to the point that we dropped draft here soon. So I really want to focus in on what this second phase is going to be looking like. We got to the last ban of the second phase before it broke off. We'll see what they focus on there, but more so what this counter pick is going to be given to for NIP.
Yeah, I mean, the jungle ties everything together here. I mean, really, in terms of how you want to make this comp work. We highlighted that jungle matchup so heavily in the pre-show, and you know what? Naiyou has not really shown up yet today. It's been kind of on the back of players like Leave, Niket, Doinb, you know, Solokill has had moments. Naiyou has an opportunity here to be the hero. He was the one who salvaged so much of this year for NIP coming in, and all sins are forgiven if you show up in Game 5. That I firmly believe, as we get the Olaf as the final ban, wanting to take that away as a potential option, both on the top side and in the jungle. It's the Udyr.
Money. A little bit of flexibility there. We'll see what they end up going with that final pick here. But the Udyr just got to run at them here. And I think that's difficult to deal with. The Xayah can be a bit of a wrench in the works for that, though.
I'm telling you now, there's no flexibility in this pick. This is Solokill's Udyr.
It is.
I am promising you that. This is one of his specialty picks from back in the PCS. This is really the thing that we were wanting to see them pull out. And it's going to be complemented. I talked about JiaQi wanting to have, you know, damage in this game. You need to be able to have that complement to Jax, who's jumping on the backline, to be able to play front to back. Who better with what's left up on the board than Xayah, a champion that we've seen prioritized in Game 1 or Game 2 of Best Ofs, let alone Game 5.
It's a lot of safety from that roll as well. I will say, though, Jinx, once you start rolling, definitely a little bit more of an edged sword there than the two, but both are going to be hyper carrying. Taric comes in! Oh, that's so disgusting. Jwei going to whip out the Taric for game number 5.
This is his second Taric of the split. If you don't remember how Game 1 went, it went pretty darn good for him. It was a really successful performance. He looked very comfortable on the champion, but jungle matters a ton, whether that's, you know, a Sylas flex or, you know, something coming in. We've got the question mark thing coming up.
I think the question mark. Oh,
it's Nidalee. I
Nidalee
assume that's Naiyou's Nidalee, but I guess theoretically it could be solo kills. You know, there are still options here, but it's rounding out the comp in a very aggressive way. NIP, who have been so reserved to go for early game pressure, just drafted Nidalee.
They did. They wanted some control from the jungle itself. This will be at least his 10th competitive game on the pick. Obviously, solo queue, very different conversation. But the thing I got to talk about, maybe why that question mark ping was there, they just picked a Taric into a Sylas. Doinb is going to have a field day with the ults that he has. Like, he has so many incredibly strong options across the Poppy, the Andy, and the Taric.
That is a huge, huge point to make. We'll see how that ends up working out. Imagine a Leona Udyr with a Taric ultimate on top of them. That's terrifying, and that's not even including the Sylas. This could get out of control very quickly, but the damage coming in, if Jax can get on the backline, if Xayah can get fed, there's still plenty of ways to win. We were looking for action in Game 5. I think we got it.
The fates are calling, and these teams need to answer. Only one of them can take that step forward. Only one of them can put their eyes on that playoff main stage. It's been a rock and roll season. I feel like a rock and roll year for both these teams in terms of the ups and downs they face, the changes in the rosters. So much going into this final game, and only one of them can come away with it. At the beginning of the year, the praise on NIP becoming a contender after getting Doinb, and now FPX threatening that with the addition of JiaQi. It's up to the world champions to be that experience in this one, and it's up to both teams to leave everything on the rip one final time. Give it up for Game 5, FPX versus NIP.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
Enemy
right, and it all comes down to this. You heard the fan support from these two fan bases. You know, it was a little bit quieter earlier. I'm sure they're feeling the pressure just as much, if not more so, than these players are. But, I mean, specifically looking at this early game, this Italy pick has to be successful in order for Ninjas and Pyjamas to feel comfortable, and they're looking early. Let's
decide it at level 1, shall we? Why not? Let's do it. As Lee's actually going to come around, be spotted here. It's a 4v4 right now. Stun going down. They're going to get the wall bang. Naiyou, what are you doing?
That is a catastrophic mistake from Naiyou. That is truly game-altering in terms of stepping way too far forward. He will be able to rebound, but his clear is really doomed now, and this is an Italy. This is not a champion that you need to be behind on in any stretch, so very bad for Ninjas and Pyjamas here.
I mean, the CC chain with the wallbang flash, and Jwei has Hex Flash, so he can absolutely continue to be a menace. And this Xayah now has 1 kill. I mean, this bot lane is going to be out of hand in a way in this 2v2, and I really want to see FPX play towards that. As NIP going to trade heavily in that 2v2 to try to get it back into rights.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty good for FPX. The kill, especially going on to Xayah, is absolutely massive. We talked about how this was such a big late-game win condition for them. The Jinx is obviously something that you have to be scared of, but with Jax being a huge disruptor here, if you can play front-to-back yourself with Taric ultimate dropping on your front line and Xayah free-hitting, plenty of ways to play here.
I mean, you can't step up like you're just going to get completely chunked. Niket's in trouble. Jwei, he's getting engaged on, but Naiyou gets 1v1 in the solo bolo for the jungler of NIP.
He's level 2. He didn't take his Krugs on the bottom side of the map, and so he's not actually got that level lead. Naiyou basically foregoing all of his camps, grabbing red buff, and immediately invading, completely salvaging his game. We are in for a crazy one here, Mazel. I can feel it.
Absolutely, and I love that Naiyou is willing to kind of go for that angle, knowing that so much of this early game relies on him and Jwei.
Oh man, it's Sheer now on the top side, potentially taking a ton of damage from Solokill. This is a lane matchup that Udyr should win. But somehow, after all of that, the gold is equalized. We're going to get a replay here. This is essentially just the pathing for Naiyou. He ends up taking the red, just hopping over the wall, and it's just, okay, you know, whatever, man. We're going to be looking, you know, avoiding any sort of potential vision, and just catches Jwei out on his Gromp, perfectly timed, and just takes full advantage of the situation. It's a really heads-up play. Lands the spear. Obviously, still a ton of damage this early on in the game, and Poppy can't really do anything about this. It's just heads up.
You just have no exit strategy there. He's still going to be up in the CS department, at least for now. Going to be very close to Naiyou getting caught up in that regard. But now Dragon is coming up, and we got to talk about the priority in bot lane, some of the redeploys out on the map, and how early priority on Dragon can go. As Care oversteps a little bit. That was scary. Didn't have to burn his flash, though, just in case. But Naiyou feels like he's in prime position to get the early Dragon stacking.
Yeah, definitely feels very good for Naiyou here. Doinb going to be able to get some farm under tower, which is nice for him as well. We'll see what FPX want to invest in. The Hex Flash coming over the wall. They could try and contest this really aggressively, which would be a bit of a problem for NIP, especially because of that bot lane advantage that JiaQi is able to generate with that Xayah kill.
Both bot laners going for the Cole, going for the long game, realizing they are the carries in the later game. Every single game, it feels like, in this series has come down to execution-based team fights. I'm sure that's going to remain the case here. We do have that Dragon spawning now. We'll have to think about those grubs in about 3 minutes, but the Dragon is not going to be in the focus of either team as of yet, and I think that's maybe indicative of how reserved this Game 5 is going to be playing out from both sides. Neither team wanting to really give over as much of an advantage, even if we saw some craziness early, and we see JiaQi and Leave throwing up their LPL alma maters and the TES logo and the EDG logo.
Very fun to see that in such a stressful Game 5, they can still have a little bit of banter back and forth. But you're absolutely right. Objectives very much the priority now. Cloud Dragon will be the first one, so no Cloud Soul. I think that does matter, at the very least, a little bit. But really, it's Grubs that I think these teams are going to prioritize. I think we're seeing that that's definitely the direction that both want to head in. Maybe FPX have an inside track on this first dragon. I can see Jeja perhaps wanting to clear his way down and just prioritizing that, but it's going to come at the expense of the 2v2.
Finally hits the Zenith Blade on the JiaQi as he's trying to get away now. Did burn the cleanse, going to try to pull it back. Niket goes for the flash play. JiaQi, he gets the flash play right back. JiaQi gets the outplay. Now leave. He should get one back to heal at the last second. He doesn't have vision. He gets taken down. FPX find a 2 for 0 in the bot lane.
It's a 2v2 masterclass for FPX. They just completely outplay Ninjas in Pyjamas, and now you are looking at a very scary game state for NIP because that is a 1k gold lead on JiaQi in the bot lane. No flash on to leave. Naiyou is going to get to start up the dragon because of this, but that is a nightmare for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Let's get a look at the replay and just see exactly how this started. This looks good for NIP. You're able to land all of the CC, but this is Tariq's strength, these small close quarters fights. You have just enough heal to disengage the damage, and Niket just goes too deep. The flash comes in here, but the heal, this is Tariq's whole thing. The flash from JiaQi, absolutely gorgeous, and unfortunately the W just goes wide there. Losing vision means he can't land the auto that is needed. The heal coming in. It's really effective. The Dragon's being tough for.
NIP gonna try to fight on the other side of the other one, but Care, he's out, and Dragon goes the way of FPX. Now NIP trying to get the flash play follow. Solokill is here. He has abandoned his top lane and trying to make the difference for the team. Big stun comes through yet again from Jwei. Now Niket tries to get his own angle. Leaves getting excited now. Maybe doesn't even get the kill at the end. This is an obliteration. This is an abomination by NIP, and this is the come up FPX needed.
Oh my goodness, FPX are running away with game number 5. We are 7 minutes in, and there is a 2k gold lead in the bot lane. I cannot express just how good that fight was from FPX, how strong they ended up playing that. You could not ask for anything more, and we're gonna get an example of that in the replay. I thought this dragon was gonna be free for NIP, but FPX are like, no, why would we ever give this up? It goes down to 1500. The smites aren't even there to be able to take this. The stun is just perfectly timed on the Naiyou. He never gets to move on the Nidalee, and at this point the smite is free. The dragon goes over to FPX. NIP want to keep this going because Solokill has walked all the way down here. He needs to make this play happen or else everything is for nothing. JiaQi goes so low. You have Niket on the back line, but the stun coming in, it's perfectly timed. And look at JiaQi. He gets dove by Niket, ends up going down. I have to be under 50 HP.
Oh my god!
When everything goes wrong for NIP, JiaQi gets to live. Kara gets 2 kills. We get back to more fighting.
I can't.
Leave.
I literally can't. Oh my god, Niket's down. Leave. Oh, after a year of blistering performances, Leave has dropped the ball, and now FPX, they find 2 more kills. They're looking to try to get out of this one. NIP are desperate. They are so desperate, and they get Leave excited. They get a couple kills there, a double kill going over, a triple coming through for Naiyou, as they're going to move right back to the Grubs.
Okay, that's actually a really good play to make, but 4 kills on Nidalee, not exactly where you want it in a game where you're behind in gold. It's going to be hard to take advantage of that fully. Still, kills anywhere, gold anywhere is going to be hugely beneficial, but you're right, Leave on this Jinx. Having a questionable early game. You know, you don't draft Jinx to play early. There's still some time for him to be able to salvage things, but it has to happen sooner rather than later because right now, we're still looking like an AD carry gap, even with all of this gold going on to Naiyou.
2,000 gold lead for JiaQi, and an incredible story for this guy. As we're going to take a look at this fight, we have consistent fights. We don't even get to talk about the players. We just get to talk about the blood.
No, who needs to talk about the players? We just get these awesome replays. The start of this fight looks disastrous for NIP. It really does feel like they've just overextended, but with Naiyou and Solokill making their way in, Shear's actually caught in a decently bad position. While he is going to pick up the kill, he's really not going to be able to do much outside of that because he has to burn his flash. And so, when he is in the back end of this fight, he just has to try and disengage. Solokill is basically unkillable in this fight because of how much they've already burned. Shear can't jump back in, and that just leaves a lot of room for Leave and for Naiyou to free hit on the back line. Naiyou picking up that triple kill, pretty massive, but see what he can do with it. Again, it's a Nidalee, so you have to hope that he's going to keep the pressure up, but it's not necessarily the scaler that you're looking for.
We have first items coming across. The Lich Bane obviously has already been completed, and he's got 6 stacks on his Dark Seal. Still, I mean, that's a lot of pressure to put on one of the newest members, right? A guy who, you know, is finally finding that promise here yet again, obviously, from that time on RA. And it feels good to see him get some resources now, try to move that forward, but it's about keeping that tempo. And if we're talking about somebody keeping tempo, and JiaQi's already 1.5 items. He already has his boots completed. And we'll see if he can be that saving grace. The Sheer gonna look for his own saving grace. He does have a massive level advantage up here. Did pop the Grandmaster Challenge, and 4 members of NIP show up. Now FPX gonna prey on the solo carry Doinb down here. We have a flash out of Jwei, world champion versus world champion. But right now it's a little bit of a health differential. And Doinb will not end up getting aggressed too hard in that setup. JiaQi taking the turret. Flash play coming out from Naiyou. That's going to be a big summoner spell down as NIP continue to push top.
Yeah, that's not a defenseless AD carry. That's in essence Reaper Xayah. That is going to be doing a lot of damage to you. Doinb though.
Oh, yeah, Doinb.
Potential trade, and there he goes.
It's yeeted away. The flash play, the wall bang. Yet again, we see it played, and Naiyou is down. That's gold going to Jwei, barely making it alive. Jwei, oh, barely survives there. That was so close. The heal coming out from Jwei, and the pressure is there. NIP, they sink all their resources into that top side. They do end up taking first turret, and now the feats will be decided by objectives.
It is a masterclass from Jwei. You gotta call out just how well he's played this early game on Poppy. He might not have the score line of JiaQi or some of the flashy plays that Jwei has made, but you know, it's really been an excellent showcase of why people are so scared of this pick for this player. And we really set up that the world champion difference, the fact that, you know, he's coming in to be the savior for FPX was gonna be the difference maker here today. He's making the most of it here in game at number 5 with these aggressive looks and just continuing to play, you know, forward in a lot of these exchanges.
We got to talk about team comp. I mean, we've had a crazy early game, a lot of blood spilled either way. First items are going to be there for majority of people here, but we are at a point, okay, well, never mind. We're going to see the all-in on Doinb down here on the bot side as they're going to try to collapse. There's a mid lane fight going on too. They get to catch out Naiyou. He's gone again. You can't have that happening time and time again. He was 4-1. And now he's going down. Now Tibbers is trying to chase down Doinb again as well, and now he's gone. And that's so troubling for NIP to keep dropping the ball that they keep taking from FPX.
Mazel, I thought teams were supposed to get more passive in Game 5. Isn't that kind of the thing that
Apparently
happens
not.
usually? Yeah, I think maybe the LPLs just builds a little bit different. We get to best of 5s and everybody steps up. It's really exciting, but you're right. That's a nightmare play for NIP. This guy bought a Dark Seal in the hopes of him being able to scale through this mid game, and all he's done since then is die over and over again. It's really a bad circumstance. A lot of the gold on Naiyou is not really all that effective. It's basically in the worst possible spot. And now with the dragons being stacked and it being Ocean Soul for Jax Poppy Taric, you gotta keep your foot on the gas as much as possible.
Take a look at how that fight kicked off. And yeah, anytime you're fighting like that, any prolonged fight is going to go the way of the Taric. But this was the series that we said, finally, can a group Nirvana team beat a group Ascend team to make it into the playoff plane? We literally had this exact same scenario happen in Split 2. FPX won Game 1, NIP won Game 2, FPX won Game 3, NIP Game 4. Game 5, FPX won, sent NIP home for Split 2. The fact that it's happening again, and now with FPX in such a monumental lead, we are struggling to see how NIP can force their way back into this one.
It is definitely a difficult predicament, but if there is something to hold your hat on, for as far behind as Leave feels like he is, as you can see, he's actually 3rd in the game in gold. So he's really not completely out of it here on the Jinx. If you can get a couple of kills over to that AD carry, you know, things can still be playable. Remember, if Jax can't jump onto the backline, Jinx should have a pretty free time being able to play more aggressive in these fights. That is an avenue back in for Ninjas in Pyjamas if they can get it. But boy, do they have to start getting that gold soon, because, you know, 3rd in the game might not be good enough in terms of gold.
That's the tough thing about it. I also love that Jwei has Ghost, by the way, right now. Little spotlight, though, that we have to transfer into is JiaQi, man. I mean, this guy was lauded when he was coming up through the TES Challenger division in the LDL. I'm so happy. I know it's FPX. I know they hadn't had a great split. I'm so happy to see him not on RNG and having an opportunity to strut his stuff here, especially against an old teammate like Niket. But he is 5-0-5 in a pivotal Game 5 to decide your season. as we see a couple things go wide in this fight. Rift Herald is going the way of FPX. They are in prime position for this one, but the Keeper's Verdict steal, and now JiaQi, he's going down. The Rift Herald goes to Naiyou, but Doinb is overextended. Look at JiaQi, he's so damn strong. Care gets the lockdown on Doinb. They get the objective here for NIP, but that's it.
I thought that fight was over the moment Niket ended up whiffing ultimate, but it's a great ult from Doinb to steal the Keeper's Verdict, and we're not done.
Oh, they go too far. JJ getting locked down. Oh, Jwei overextends now too. Steps into the traps as Sheer was waiting around the corner, waiting for Lee to overextend. They pulled the chop draw shut. The Radiant, it's not enough. The Cosmic Radiance doesn't come down fast enough. Jwei is the only one that gets saved. Lee has come around the corner now in FPX. They bit off a little bit more than they can chew. Sheer gonna flash away, gets flashed on by Solokill. TP coming in now. Care going for a kill. Gets one. Leave is on fire right now, and Leave is pumping him. JiaQi steps up. Featherstorm. Blade color flash play. He literally sits Leave down. Now he's got to try to get out of this one. Doinb is just going to run him down. Even though the Blade Collar comes through, he's going to buy a little bit of time. But Doinb gets 1,000 gold, and it is chaos. And now NIP only 1,000 gold down.
What a nightmare for FPX. That is the worst possible fight you could have taken. You have a 5-kill Xayah, a Xayah that has basically all of the gold on your team. You generated this lead. She is your hyper carry. And you take a 4v5 fight without your carry, who's farming top lane. It actually might be a game-throwing mistake. Look at where the gold went. Sylas and a bit onto Jinx as well. This is the best-case scenario for NIP. It certainly hasn't brought them back completely, but you know, we're going to get a chance to see it in this replay. There is no reason to be here. This is a fantastic turn for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Look at where JiaQi and even Care are on the top side of the map. You have none of your carries. You're just getting bursted down. Jeja is dead before anyone else can arrive here. And at this point, you just have to hope that Jwei and Care and Sheer without any resources are going to be enough. Leave is free hitting on the backline, gets to cleanse the turret stun. Sheer has to flash over, and at this point, JiaQi finally shows up, but his team is entirely dead. There's no fight to save. And it's a massive mistake from FPX in terms of their positioning. It might not matter in the long run because they are so far ahead, but if there is a game-losing type of play to make, this might be it.
Whoa. Speaking of, Naiyou tries to get a play over the edge there, doesn't end up finding the pick. JJ gets caught out, wallbanged himself. JJ is going to go down to Naiyou's claws as a charge from Doinb gets the mid lane turret, and they should be able to snowball this one into more gold right ahead of the dragon.
I can't believe it. This game is equalized almost entirely here. The gold is completely negligible. It's a 1k gold deficit. It still matters because you have so much of it on the Xayah, but it's a nightmare for FPX. You should never be allowing these plays to happen. JJ getting caught once again, and now NIP are going to get to take the dragon and stop the stacking as well.
TP in the bot lane from Sheer. Looks like FPX actually want to make a play here. They're getting caught now. All 5 members of NIP are going to move over. The Cosmic Radiance is bright, and it is shining right on the JiaQi, who's going to Featherstorm now. He has so much safety. Cosmic Radiance used by Doinb, and he comes back to take them down with it. Sheer looking for the kill, gets one. Sheer on a 1v3 now, but he's all by himself. He's all by his lonesome, and Leave is popping off again. A triple kill for the carry of NIP.
Did I say that NIP had worked their way back into the game? Strike that. They have taken control of the game. Within the span of the last 5 minutes, FPX have gone from the most dominant game state we have seen in the entirety of the series to losing. And it's all thanks to the fact that they have been run off the rift in these fights. The teleport coming in, this is so greedy to try to contest this. We see Niket flash over the wall here, Hex flash over the wall, and this feels like a decent setup. The stun is massive from Care, but they just don't have the damage to break through during the turret ultimate. And so when it wears off, Doinb perfectly timed here, just barely lives on a sliver once JiaQi goes down. There is nothing left to play. Sheer can try his best to jump on the backline, but this Jax can't 1v9. Naiyou is huge, Solokill is huge, and Leave has now acquired his gold. It is NIP's game to run, and they did this from the worst possible spot.
That is such a tough position to be in, and now you're in those situations where, you know, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of pressure. You had so much of that on just a couple key carries of FPX. They still are strong. You're on 2.5 items now for JiaQi, but you can absolutely feel that momentum, that air kind of just being sucked out.
Yeah, I think that's an apt way to put it. The air feels like it's being sucked out of the game. I think both of these teams might start getting into the zone where they're a little bit more, worried to make plays. It feels like a lot of these engages are overreaches, and almost all of them have been punished. We'll see if that continues. Otacon is spawned on the map. NIP have a pretty good setup on it, but this is now a 4-kill Jinx. This is 2 items, Infinity Edge completed. You have that anti-heal built as well. So this is going to be someone who can break through the front line, and JiaQi has to flash out already.
That's a little tough, and that means Atacon is just a full focus right now. Leave on 2 items. They're going to TP. FPX desperate. They're moving in, Kman.
They are moving in. 8,000 on the health bar here. They can turn and fight if they need to, or they can burst this down. They're getting close.
Okay, 5,000 down. It's getting low. Keeper verdict from Doinb goes wide, going in with the Cosmic. It's going to be taken by Naiyou. Atacon secured by NIP. Here goes Sheer in the background, but look at Leave. Leave's getting excited. Leave's about to prove that he was right all along. He's getting locked down. Now NIP trying to chase down. There's the Mega Death Rocket coming through. It does not get much damage down, but NIP, they want more. They're hungry. They're thirsty. They're trying to get JiaQi, who overextends. The Featherstorm comes back to fight them, though, as he's in trouble now. JJ gives his life over, and FPX are losing bodies. Flash coming through from NIP, and Naiyou, he wants more. He's going to get the spear. Naiyou, you monster, against the world champion. NIP's new jungler steps to the plate and knocks it out.
Naiyou, the player that has come in to salvage Ninjas in Pyjamas here, is doing much more than that. He is carrying game number 5, the most important spot, the biggest of situations. This young player who was doubted last year is stepping up and really becoming the leader here for NIP on this 9-kill Nidalee. A beautiful fight from him, a beautiful fight from Leave. We are going to get a massive replay here. This is actually a pretty decent setup, all things considered, from FPX. The smite does go down for Naiyou. He's able to secure the Otacon, but Udyr is actually kicked out of the fight. Sheer gets to jump onto the backline. Unfortunately, he just barely misses stunning Leave up, which would have been a game-altering fight, but at this point, Solokill has made his way back in. Frontline is frontlining. JiaQi ends up taking a lot of damage in the poke. He's too far forward. The ult's not going to completely save him. He has to burn everything in order to do so, and at this point, Jwei, they're giving their lives just so that their AD carry can escape, but even then, it's all in vain. Naiyou with the chase down, the perfect spear to eliminate Care, and then just cleaning up onto JiaQi as well. Ninjas in Pyjamas, what a comeback they are in the midst of.
They are trying to defy fate. They do not want Split 2 to end how it did, and it's off their only about a month and a half in jungler in Naiyou, who out of everyone is stepping up the hardest here. I know Leave is looking like he can knock this one out with these kills, these kind of play we've seen from him, but Naiyou, his influence cannot be understated.
Absolutely not. Naiyou has revitalized everything. This team was middling without Naiyou, and now that they have a jungler who feels like they can be aggressive as a carry, can step up and be resource heavy, all of a sudden their entire outlook has changed. FPX is pushing through the mid lane. I don't think they realize that NIP is behind them. Right now they are pushing on the bot side. We will see what happens with the collapse. They're basically being zoned off here.
Wow.
As they attempt to push through the mid lane. NIP just gets
if they just leave this, yeah, look, there's pings coming in. They're going to get the inhib turret.
They have to back. There's no way for them to walk here. This is a free inhib turret. It's a massive mistake from FPX. This is a disaster class in macro, and this team is crumbling.
The thing about these situations, though, it's 5 games. It's tough. You've had a brutal year for both teams, but it's about who stays consistent, who stays with their head in the game, and NIP, they seem to have the better grip of it right now.
Certainly, they definitely are playing the map better. FPX, though, looking to engage.
They want it. Care go for the double play. They get him before the Cosmic Radiance comes down. Leave is gone. Now they're in the pit, though. JJ is by himself and took the wrong side of the fight. He's gone. Niket's going to flash away from Sheer, who is ready to go with the Counter-Strike. Nothing else going to come of it, though. It is still a 4v5, but Naiyou is the one that's up. The smite that is available. There's Spellbook for Jwei, but I don't know if he's going to switch over to it.
This is huge. If one of these sides win, the game is basically over.
I can't believe they're 50-50 without a jungler right now. It's going to be the focus on Solokill. Solokill gets killed. He's down 655 smackaroos. Goes the way of FPX, and they get the Dragon Soul Point.
It's so much happening, Mazel. There are so many things going down. You end up with JJ getting, on the wrong side of the fight, as you mentioned, and getting taken down, and they still want to try and 50-50 over this objective. It's absolutely insane. They still end up getting it without a jungler, which feels impossible. But here we're gonna go ahead and and see how this is going. This setup is already very illegal. Again, FPX being here at all feels insane. You see Sheer on the flank. This is brilliant, and the flash ult from Care just really sets it up about as perfectly as you can ask for. Once Leave is dead, actually, it's really hard to win this. Remember, Leave is kind of the main backline carry, and so for as big of a lead as NIP have, this is a pretty difficult situation, but you know, we have to jump back to live because so much is already going on, but crazy times.
We are hitting 3 items now for the carries. JiaQi and Leave evened up in that regard. Continue looking at them though, but it's more so important. All these other item completions first and foremost. The Seekers is there for Sheer. Give by a lot of time if he decides to play with his life. Naiyou will be spotted out on the top side of the map. There's nothing else on the map itself, so he will be fine up here. But these next fights are so pivotal, relying on that grit, that determination to see your season continue. Doinb tries to catch out Jwei.
I want to point something out. Look at the level differences because of the roses. Naiyou is 3 levels up on Jwei. Doinb is 3 levels up on Care. Leave is a level up on JiaQi. Like, these are massive spikes. It's level 16 versus level 13 on the other side. And you're going to use it to start Baron.
No Nirvana team has ever beat a group Ascend team in these playoff play-ins, and NIP are on the verge here potentially. They take the Baron. They're going to look for the fight now too. FPX is going to go in with the Cosmic Radiance, trying to buy time, trying to get Naiyou, trying to take down anybody they can. They're reaching, they're grasping, but they're grasping at straws. Leave going to step out of that Featherstorm Blade Caller combo, and now NIP. They've got their sights locked. They've got Solokill on the back end. Look at Leave. He's been peppering them with rockets this entire time, and Jwei's going to be caught out, giving his life, giving an excited Leave the move forward. 5,000 damage in that fight, and Leave wants more.
He doesn't just want more of the kills, he wants this tower as well with the Baron buff. That is an absolute killer for FPX in terms of how this game is going. They don't just want a few things, they're teleporting people in. They might try to push for game.
Oh my god, no way, this is how it happens. All the way from that time in Split 2, from the beginning of the year with NIP, no expectations, to Doinb trying to make this team matter. And the kings of Group Nirvana are on the edge to get down FPX, to do what maybe has never been done. As NIP look for one last fight here, it's not going to be. It's FPX going down. That's it. NIP will do what has never been done in this era of the LPL. They finally claim victory for Group Nirvana and take revenge on the Phoenix.
We finally see it, Mazel! We finally saw it! Group Nirvana has achieved what was impossible. They have beaten a Group Ascend team in a best of 5, and Ninjas in Pyjamas have officially qualified for the playoffs. Their season is alive, and it is the most comical, just dramatic fashion that you could possibly ask for in which they do it.
Naiyou getting the shoulder bump from Doinb, from the man himself there. The smiles, the elation, the stress relief, man. I was stressed out, and I'm just casting it. I mean, that was incredible, and all the things that fall because of that, right? You have not only Niket, getting the better of his old teammate JiaQi. You have Leave and Solokill getting the better of their old jungler in Jwei. You have the World Championship duel that has been settled now. NIP making good on losing in Split 2 to FPX, reversing that fate in the Game 5. It writes itself, man. The LPL is incredible.
I mean, is there a better league? I mean, come on. This is cinema. No. This is absolute cinema. And you couldn't ask for anything more. Like a 4K goal deficit at 10 minutes into the game, and 4 minutes later, it's completely turned. I'm just so happy for NIP. This org has tried so hard to stay competitive near the top of the standings. They came into the LPL only a few years ago with the explicit intention of making Worlds and really representing the LPL. And while it's been difficult for them to represent at that level, this is a roster that has grown and evolved, and you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. You get enough championship points, maybe you get into that regional qualifier, and everything stays alive. For FPX, though, this is unfortunately the end of the journey, and despite their growth, this might be it. As we flash up the predictions on the screen. Let's go!
Huge 3-2 performance from NIP. Again, the first team to ever do it. Maybe not the last. but definitely the first. And that's definitely going to be something to hold on to there for NIP fans, but also for NIP in general. To make good, at least to make it to the playoffs, you have double elim now awaiting you. You have multiple lives in that run, and to try to make up for maybe some time lost in that split 2.
You gotta. I mean, it's now or never. If you can keep your cool in this game 5, where you've basically thrown the entire game at 10 minutes, you can keep your cool in the playoffs. I am not doubting this team's mental anymore, their resilience, their ability to fight back, because, you know, everything was tested here today. They were down 2-1. They were down 0-1 at the start of this series. They never had control, and yet they walked out as the victors.
They did indeed. And for FPX, that's going to feel really bad. That is it for them. The 8th seed from Group Ascend will fall, and we won't be seeing FPX until next year. And honestly, maybe it's time. Like, I don't know. That was a brutal year as a whole for FPX. Yes, they stayed in Group Ascend, but they were the punching bag for a majority of it. And you could see that still they learned so much, and they used a lot of that coming into today. It just wasn't enough to keep their heads at least corrected in game number 5. Some things going a little bit wrong for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's tragic for FPX. You felt like you had control of the series and of game 5, and, you know, honestly, this team felt much improved with JiaQi. Does this split look different if you got an entire split with him as the starting jungler? Maybe, but those are the what ifs that unfortunately just don't have time to answer. They move on to 2026. I think that there is, you know, a core to build around. You never know what happens in the LPL offseason, but there are players on this team that I think showed so much this year, whether they're on FPX or not. Jwei, I think JiaQi, you know, JiaQi obviously, but look at that gold graph. It is just disgusting.
Disgusting is the right word. I'm glad that we got the kind of final potential of an ADC battle here. I think both of these guys were just aces today. And the fact that the final game came down to just who was better between the two of them. Some really aggressive plays from JiaQi, but always consistently knowing his angle for leave. 35% damage done off the back of that 50% damage done earlier on the Smolder. And it's just about knowing that you just need to get the one kill. And earlier, it hurt him, right? He was trying to get that kill, didn't end up getting it, but the team focused around taking those front to backs, and you'll see it time and time again in the fights that Lee found success in.
Yeah, I mean, really, it all comes down to when you have this AD carry matchup where both of them have so much gold, it's who can protect the backline better. And this is the fight. I mean, this is it, right? Like, this is the thing that broke open the game. JiaQi's not here. FPX take a 4v5, and without their fed AD carry, and all of a sudden the entire game is lost. It really can come down to that small of a mistake, and credit to NIP for being able to capitalize, but what a series from Leave. I know we don't give out like a player of the series award, but like absolutely, to me, no doubt in my mind, he was the best player on the Rift here today, and he's really what elevated NIP across this entire series.
He is indeed. Now, I think Naiyou deserves a little bit of praise too in that regard, especially feeling so confident to take a Nidalee in game 5. Like that takes a lot of gut, especially in the Jwei, and to perform like he did.
You gotta have some sort of confidence in yourself, especially after the Viego game where it's like, all right, I'm strong, but like, can I actually play? Like, do we have the setup? Like, to see that and to be like, no, Nidalee's my pick in game 5 for the rest of the season. Just crazy work from Naiyou, especially because he had been struggling a bit in the series before that. To me, he's player of the game here for game number 5. I wouldn't really think too much about it. I think he is the one that ended up making the biggest difference, and really kind of created a lot of what NIP ended up having to play off of. And in such a big moment to have the player that you brought in specifically for this purpose kind of show that potential. Former LDL MVP Naiyou finally starting to come into his own in the LPL. It's just really cool to see.
It is, and doing it his own way, as FPX did try some really good fights in the back end, but just a couple split moments, a couple split decisions, and there's that one fell swoop as a big spear connects, but it was all she wrote after this. I mean, it was already done, as they were so far in the advantage.
Just feels impossible for them to have been in this position in the first place, but you're absolutely right. The game swung, and you know what? Credit NIP. They did not waste time. When they got one advantage, they turned that, they were down 3k gold, and now all of a sudden they're down 1k gold, and now within 5 minutes they're up 1k gold, and then they're up 5k gold. Like, they never took their foot off the gas. A lesser team would have taken the mistake that FPX made and perhaps made it a long game that, took a while to close. Ninjas in Pyjamas wasn't about that. Sub 30 minutes on a game where they were down this much is really impressive.
Yeah, it truly is. And you got to wonder, does that make them look like a tough opponent going into the selection phase for playoffs? What do you think?
I think it depends on who's winning these other series. I think if we're looking at another, Group Nirvana team, maybe an EDG making their way in, I think that there is an argument that, I don't know, maybe I don't want to face Ninjas in Pyjamas in round 1, but, I think a lot of good teams left. I think depending on, your matchup, especially if you're a team like Top Esports, do I want to stare down Doinb and Naiyou, my former, TES prodigy jungler in round number 1? Might be a bit tempting.
All right, well, let's see who gets the MVP here. It will be another one for Leave. 35% damage done, over 90% KP. Rightfully so. I mean, Leave popped the hell off this series.
He needed 1 kill, and then he was off to the races. The moment that he was able to get a foothold in this game, he immediately took it over. You watch every single final fight, and his damage was the most consequential it could possibly be. Leave against his former teammate in Jeja this series, he's going to have the last laugh.
He definitely is, as spamming those EDG emotes all along. Also with the expensive skins, so, not too shabby. But an NIP 3-2, they make good. They turn it around at Game 5, the first red side, set up as well. You love to see it, and it just comes off some cohesive gameplay from a team that was honestly so ridiculously dominant in Group Nirvana. I don't know what that means in the grand scheme of things, but it ends up paying off for them.
It absolutely, it pays off in its fullest force. They are now in the playoffs proper. This team, again, even going into the summer, I can remember this team kind of talking about, hey, our goal is not to be good. Our goal is Worlds. Like, we made these changes because we think we can be top 4. I think that's a long shot. There is, a lot of things that stand in their way, but you know what? Miracle runs can happen to anybody. We have seen some crazy things in the LPL before, and at the very least, NIP will have the chance to pull off, a pretty big miracle here.
They will indeed. I think we are going to go ahead and bring up the bracket, if at all possible here. If we don't have that, no big deal. But itself, rightfully so. I think NIP deserve a lot of respect moving forward. And we'll have to see, like you said, against the kind of performances we get from the other squads coming through. But as we see, the first one is done. NIP do what maybe some thought could never be possible and beat a group Ascend team. Me being a little bit, but NIP do end up finding that, and they will be the first ones to move forward from this play-ins playoff stage.
Yeah, and the question is now, are they the last? Are they the only Group Nirvana team to get through? Because we've got some crazy fun series coming up. I think WE EDG is one I'm really excited to see. A lot of storylines and former teammates in that one as well, in terms of the orgs. And of course, it's Edward Gaming versus WE. Of course, there's a lot of excitement. Yeah. You've got underdogs like LGD and Ultra Prime that are such young rosters. I'm just excited to see where the rest of the play-ins go.
Yeah, absolutely so. But Kman, it's been a pleasure to cast this series. I'm glad we got to go to all 5 games, as is tradition between these 2 orgs going at it. But that is the first of our 4 play-in matches. So it should be a lot of fun moving forward. Before we get going, thank you very much to our Elite Coffee supporters, Aaron Soup, Mung, Forest Without, and owners of Asil Morel. Their financial contributions help level up the broadcast and give back to the cast and crew who strive to give you an LPL English product every single day. Coffee is the best way to support us. It goes to helping the broadcast, again, in a variety of ways. But thank you all for joining us. It's been a long night. Make sure you go get some rest, and we'll see you back in action tomorrow for more LPL.